that video of the dogs barking at each other through the fence, and then they pull the fence back and the dogs get really quiet.
Yeah.
That's what we're seeing. So that's what you're referring to there.
Yep. Yeah. It's this sort of keyboard courage. And I think
keyboard courage.
Yeah.
I like that.
And I think it's like, yeah, I think that the inverse has happened. Like, yes, people are sometimes less authentic online and are showing more polished versions of themselves. But I think the inverse is just as true among maybe a different demographic, where like, I think in a lot of our churches, you could have a 55 or 60-year-old man who's like showing up to Sunday school. Maybe he teaches Sunday school and he's like he's great and he's awesome and gotta love Uncle Bill. He's awesome. And then on Facebook, he's just like ranting and raving about how such and so political person is the Antichrist and And then he shows up on Sunday and everything's like, hey, it's Uncle Bill. He's great. How's it going, man? Good. Okay, cool. And it's like, what in the world? Which one is the authentic self? I think the church one is the more curated and polished one, and the one online is maybe more real. And so I think kind of both are going on, where sometimes online you have people faking it and offline life is different and worse. And sometimes you have people showing up to church and everything's cool. And then online they're showing kind of their true colors. And so whichever one you're dealing with, I think what the ultimate answer is, and I don't say that as though it's a sort of silver bullet, but I think the right answer is kind of the same for both, which is you have to plunge both of those people into immersive offline incarnational community, period. Like Uncle Bill, who's posting political rants on Facebook, and young girl who's on Instagram posting about how her life is always awesome, ought to be in community groups together, pulling out their real selves a little bit more in community with each other and sharing about their real lives. Because if all those two people do regarding their faith is show up to church on Sunday once a week, 3 times a month, and sometimes read their Bibles, it's like, who's getting to know them? Who knows who's the real version of themselves? Like, what is truly authentic, and who could possibly know that? And so that, like, this is why, like, we put such a huge emphasis on community group at our church. Like, you must go to one if you're a member. Like, if you're a member at our church and you don't go to community group, you will be called in pretty quickly and be like asked why you're not a part of a community group. Like, it's just kind of it is a requirement as much as anything is. And so I think, like, being a part of a smaller church community where like people know your name and can show up to your house in an instant if they need to, and can watch your kids if you need to attend to something or have a meal if you have a kid or whatever, like that kind of intentional, incarnational, as I call it, church community is vital. It pierces through the person who's more authentic online or more fake online in the same way, because ultimately those people are not going to be able to hide, and they're going to have to talk about what life is really like in a community like that. You're not going to get that when they're standing in the back row of church singing songs and telling the pastor how good his jokes are.